Super interesting. I'm loving these new features.
Yeah.
Very good. OK, so Stuart, let's talk about e-biking, and you've even brought your own prop.
Yeah. Well, following on from the well-being theme, cycling, as we've seen with David, is
been a hot topic tonight.
Yeah, it's always been a very great source for well-being. And you know, if someone like David can cycle all the way from Spain, then we can certainly get some.
David was having a bit of a go at you during that, wasn't he? Saying that's the easy form of cycling.
Yeah, a little bit of teasing.
Having a bit of a dig, yeah.
Not quite as fit.
But how does these e-bikes work then? Because I've never actually used one before. You go on it, and obviously you're still pedalling.
Yes, yeah. So there's a couple of things for them to be legally classified as bicycles. You have to pedal. So the motor only engages when you're pedaling.
Right.
There's no throttle or push-button accelerator. If the bike has either of those things, then it's registered as a motorbike. So it needs to be licensed, you need to wear a helmet, you can't cycle in the cycling lane. But if it's a pedelec, so the pedal motor, and it caps at 25 kilometres an hour, then it can be classified as a bicycle. And that's how we're able to use them on the tours that we're giving of the Rock now.
And how does it work? Because there's no emissions, so it's
there's no
environmentally
emissions.
friendly.
Yeah, that's right. Lithium-ion batteries. Each battery has a charge which would take the bike about 50 kilometres, and you just plug them straight into the wall. From fully depleted, they take about 4.5 hours to recharge. But as I say, if you're getting 50 kilometres, depending on your usage, you know, there's guys here I know using them for commutes home to the office every day. Haven't charged them within like 3 weeks. So there's quite a big range, and it's about 77 pence to charge a battery. So if you compare that with a petrol.
And when you say they're using them in terms of they pick them up every day from the. Are they renting them every day, kind of thing?
No, these are private owners.
Oh, okay.
So we're not. The idea with Ebike-Gibraltar is to show the local community that there is this alternative transport, personal transport means. There's 30,000 vehicles in Gibraltar now.
Yeah.
So 19,000 cars and 11,000 motorbikes. Of the car journeys, 60% of those car journeys are single occupancy.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of what we'll call non-essential vehicles on the road, most of which are 4x4s, and a lot of motorbikes. And you know, considering people are only using these motorbikes in Gib, we've got 25 kilometres of road network in Gibraltar. We're going 5-minute journeys, you know, from one end of the Rock to the other. Let's see if we can do it in a non-emitting, and not just non-polluting of the air. You know, we're talking about noise as well, completely silent, just like a bicycle.
I suppose an argument that people have had before in the past is, of course, Gibraltar is very hilly. No one wants to cycle up, let's say, Rock Hotel Hill, for example, but I suppose that's when e-bikes come in handy.
Absolutely, absolutely.
How much easier is it to take on like steep inclines when you have an e-bike compared to a normal one?
So these new generation e-bikes have a motor that is so powerful that you only need, well, it's no harder than pedalling along the flat, regardless of the gradient. So we get 70-year-old guys, maybe not as fit as David, but still pretty fit, to the top of the Rock. So that's O'Hara's battery, 424 metres, and some of those inclines on the nature reserve, as you probably know, fairly steep. But, you know, just a nice, constant, easy pedal for anybody.
And tell us about those tours. How are they going so far?
The tours have been really well received. If anybody wants to look at reviews, we have some great reviews on TripAdvisor. Just find it on Ebike-Gibraltar. And cruise ships, people coming in by coach, a lot of independent travellers coming over the border. 1 million people go into the nature reserve a year.
Wow.
So if you're someone who doesn't necessarily want to, you know, it's very, very well you know, serviced by the cable car, by taxis, by tour buses, walking tours. And now this is an alternative for people who want something a little bit more active. You know, it's not for everybody, but the people that we've had have been really, really well responding.
And where does the route actually start? So
at the moment, prior to us opening our own unit, which is going to be an ocean village, we hope to have that open within the next 4 or 5 weeks. we are working in conjunction with the Sunborn Yacht Hotel. So we're using their forecourt where we meet people with the bikes. We go over to Catalan Bay. That's our first stop, along through the tunnel to Europa Point.
Right.
And then up through the nature reserve, across the top and back down. And now we have, as a tour operator, we're able to buy a ticket which gives admission to St Michael's Cave to our clients.
So it's the full experience.
The full experience. And it's amazing. Even with the speed of an e-bike, it's a 3-hour tour, which is, you know, fully utilised that time.
And just to picture it, is it kind of the tour guide leads the way and then everyone in the e-bike following in single file as they're going along? So maybe what, like maybe 30 at a time?
No. So there are some big cycling groups that come in across the border. My maximum is 10.
Okay.
And we're normally, it's normally an average group of 5 or 6.
Yeah.
The big groups have been causing a bit of anxiety to other nature reserve users. A smaller group, and I'm saying really 10 would be our absolute max.
Yeah,
because otherwise you're stretched out for half a mile along the road.
I saw one of those big groups we're talking about a couple of days ago, and it was, you could say it must have been stressful being on one of those bikes, because obviously there's a lot of traffic in Gibraltar. I mean, cars, they're not very patient sometimes at the worst of times. During rush hour, and it must be a bit scary at times. Yeah,
you're right. You certainly don't want traffic behind you revving away, and then them having to try and overtake a whole long stream. If we ever have any cars behind us, you know, we pull into the side. Just safety first at all times. And especially on some of those narrow. It's one way, obviously, through the nature reserve. But the roads are narrow. The taxis have got their job to do. The tour buses have got their job. We've maybe got a little bit more time, so I always let those guys pass. And it makes it safer for everyone.
Well, thank you so much for coming in and speaking to us about it. It's Ebike-Gibraltar?
Yeah, Ebike-Gibraltar. Very easy to, being the first, we managed to snag the easiest name for people to remember. And yes, we will hopefully have the shop open very soon, where we'll be having quite a big dealership, all the different range from this particular brand, Rees & Muller, and also the UK fold-up bicycles from Brompton. They also have a electric version as well.
So you'll be selling bikes as well?
So we will be selling, that's a great commuter bike. And you're right, we've always had the excuse of hills, and in the summer, let's face it, it's pretty hot. People don't want to arrive at work hot and sweaty or need a change of clothes. With the e-bike, it's as if you're on a motorbike, but without any of the noise or the pollution. And
also not just tourists, I suppose, like team building exercises, anyone can get involved and do this.
Absolutely. We are taking Jyske Bank beginning of next month as one of our first corporate clients. And everybody seems to be getting on board with a more responsible sort of activity. You know, tourists are much more concerned these days about their carbon footprint when they're away. They don't want to come somewhere as beautiful as Gib and add to the pollution. I've got to say that the traffic is the #1 complaint of tourists when they're here.
It is bad,
and
not denying that.
I'm hoping, and I was working closely with Paul Baban while he was Transport Minister. And they have a lot of initiatives that hopefully they're now going to roll out in the next few years.
Brilliant. We'll watch this space, I guess,
Indeed.
Good stuff.
Thanks once again for joining us.
A pleasure. Thank you.
Let's check out what new releases Michael and Christina are raving about this week. It's time to head to the movies.